First up, a summary of our top stories with Gladys Ambo Dibang.
On February 2nd this year, a woman named Bella was brutally killed at the Efulang neighborhood in Yaoundé, just over a week down the road. Police have arrested 3 suspects. Amongst them is the murdered woman's spiritual guide. He's still holding the reins of Cameroon. And in case you lost track, that's over 40 years of leadership and counting, political reforms and multi-party politics. Biya is still in charge. R. Kelly's 30-year prison sentence for sex trafficking has been maintained after a United States appeals court resolved to appeal again, claiming the law was flawed. The ruling comes after prosecutors presented chilling evidence of Kelly's manipulative and abusive tactics to control young women for his sexual exploitation. That was a summary of our top stories. Stay tuned for details coming your way in a jiffy.
Thanks once again for your company, and we flip open tonight's package with this rather chilling report from the Foumban neighborhood in the capital Yaoundé. The story revolves around the February 2 murder of a woman named Bella. Well, police say they have arrested 3 suspects, and curiously amongst them is the slain woman's spiritual mentor. Yes, Beatrice Ngamo reporting from Yaoundé.
A macabre crime committed with extreme brutality at a Foumban neighborhood under Yaoundé 3. The 3 suspects were arrested for the nocturnal murder of last February 2nd, breaking dead. The murder weapon was an iron used to fatally strike Bella before strangling her cold with his skull. The victim, a cashier at the filling station, was expected to report to work the next morning. She was supposed to take service by 6 a.m. We're all surprised because she's never late at her workplace. Her telephone was not going through. We were worried. That is how we went to her house to see why she was not at work and not answering her phone. The first who arrived broke the door and discovered her body lying on the floor in a pool of blood. The gendarmerie was alerted, and a rigorous investigation led the company elements of Yaoundé 2 dismantling the network. On the 4th, around Ange Raphael in Douala, 2 of the supposed assassins were caught in possession of one of the victim's phone. This led to the arrest of the organizer at a Bobogo Rail in Yaoundé. The arrest revealed an unexpected suspect, the victim's so-called pretentious spiritual advisor, actually a charlatan and the mastermind behind the murder. She trusted him since it was in the night. He entered her house and his accomplice joined them. Investigations also revealed the suspect has been involved in a series of presumed motorbike theft in the capital city, Yaoundé. The arrest has brought some relief to the victim's family. I admit that my younger sister will not come back, but in the family, we have the sentiment the pain is a little bit soft. The case will now go to court, but the scars of that bloody night will remain engraved forever.
And we stay on in the capital Yaoundé, where gendarmes say they have laid hands on 4 persons suspected of operating a kidnapping gang. Now, among their latest victim was an 18-year-old victim, girl, who was held for 2 days as the gang members pressed for ransom to be paid. Here's Hyacinth Chia.
She went out in search of a job, but ended up in the hands of supposed kidnappers who kept her hostage for 2 days, demanding ransom. Cajoled by one of the gang members, the 18-year-old girl would later discover herself in a strange building.
Et lorsqu'elle s'est rendue au lieu du rendez-vous, elle s'est vue rapprochée par l'un des membres.
When she got to the appointment venue, she was approached by one of the guys who took her to the others, told that they were heading to the manager's office. She later found herself in an uncompleted building where she was for 48 hours. Alerted by the family, the elements of the Special Investigation and Criminal Research Bureau of the National Gendarmerie launched a search for the culprit. With my elements, we went hunting for the culprits, arresting them in their hideout with a machete, a dagger and a rope they used in tying the victim. The 4 suspects have been presented to the Mfundi State Council this February 13 for justice to begin. Meantime, the victim is undergoing medical examination after the trauma.
And now several persons are believed to have perished after a gory accident Wednesday night in Bonaberi, that's in Douala's West End. Eyewitnesses said the bloodshed occurred after a speeding taxi crashed into a stationed and punctured heavy-duty truck loaded with cement. The tragedy has been blamed not only on reckless driving, but also on the absence of public lighting in that area, she tells us Ndi Maureen.
The accident scene was a grisly sight with human remains tangled in twisted metal, damaged vehicles, and the crowds of onlookers in shock at the catastrophic outcome of the crash. He was running on high speed and again on the wrong lane. We even saw a smaller vehicle trying to alert, but the truck driver was running on high speed and had to hit another before the other truck had to smash the other smaller vehicle. We rescued the passengers trapped on the ground. At one time, the truck conductor was telling the driver how to drive out, but again he was running on high speed, and that's how the whole mess. Witnesses reported that excessive speed and poor visibility due to the absence of street lighting were the main factors contributing to the fatal crash. One of the factors is poor lighting. We walk at night. The road acts between Bikoko right up to the bridge. It's in total darkness. You can be driving and someone crosses your path, and that's an accident. This coupled with bad roads, there are no street lights, and this is causing poor visibility at night. With uncertainty over the exact number of fatalities, we visited the Bonasama hospital where the injured had been rushed. Sources within the hospital revealed that 7 victims were admitted, 3 of whom were immediately transferred to Lankentini Hospital in Douala. Upon arrival at the Lankentini Hospital, hospital officials confirmed that only 2 victims had been brought in, and despite receiving appropriate medical care, both succumbed to their injuries. Access to the victims at Bonasama Hospital was not granted. Just to recall that the accident involved a 12-wheeled cement truck, a semi-trailer loaded with iron, and a taxi. An accident that occurred on the night of February 12 around 9:30 p.m. at around Kaditash in Bonaberi. The community remains in shock as investigations continue into these tragic events.
Meanwhile, in Foumban, and that's in the west region of Cameroon, residents say recurrent blackouts, that's power outages, have become simply unbearable. In some cases, blackouts last up to 1 week and even more. Businesses are currently on the brink. Frustration is mounting high amid what some term the deafening silence from the energy provider. She tells us, Gladys Ambondebang.
In Foumban, in the non-division west region of Cameroon, the home of generators has become the new soundtrack of daily life. For months now, electricity outages have crippled businesses and homes, pushing residents to their limits. Some areas go without power for 48 hours, others for an entire week. And yet, there are no clear answers from the electricity distribution company. There is no electricity here. Every day, almost every single day, our machines need electricity to run. But when the power is cut like this, we can't work. Every activity stops. It's a huge problem, And yet, when the bill arrives, the company expects us to pay on time. If we don't, there will be consequences. Butchers say they are badly affected as meat gets spoiled in freezers as a result of persistent power outages. We have been dealing with this electricity problem for years. It's getting worse. We can't cope anymore. Our meat spoils because we can't store it properly. Every blackout costs us money. We lose everything. It's impossible to run a business like this. Every day there is blackout. When that happens, the meat goes bad and we are forced to take loans just to stay in business. With no clear communication from the energy provider, residents are left in the dark, both literally and figuratively. As frustration mounts, the people of Foumban are demanding urgent action. Until then, the hum of generators will continue to be the town's unwanted lullaby.
And now in politics, today, February 13, 2025, President Paul Biya celebrates his 92nd birthday. Born in Vomeka on February 13, 1933, Biya rose to power in 1982 following the surprise resignation of then-President Ahmadou Ahidjo. A long-serving leader, he has held office for over 4 decades and remains Africa's longest-serving president and currently the world's oldest elected head of state, from surviving an attempted coup in 1984 to navigating Cameroon through political reforms and multi-party politics. Biya is still in charge and still winning elections. We shall be coming back with greater detail on the president's birthday subsequently. Now, the Front Camerounais, and that's a rising and new political party, says it is targeting youth across the country to reshape future dynamics for politics in Cameroon. Officials say with 2/3 of the country's population currently under 30, involving more young people in politics will definitely change the dynamics in the future. Here's Nti Morin.
Front Camerounais, a rising political party symbolized by green representing spring and rebirth, aims to change the political landscape by focusing on youth engagement. The central theme uniting the party is education in citizenship, not only educating young people, but about the history of Cameroon, but also transforming them into political activists who fully understand their rights and responsibilities.
You know, our focus is education. We think that if our youth are educated, we will have a better Cameroon. You cannot love your country if you don't know your country. You cannot love even yourself if you don't know you as human being you can act. Here, the leadership is a good thing, but when it's better, is reach at the level of the leader, you can push other people.
With the youth making up 2/3 of Cameroon's population, the party sees them as a critical potential base to build upon.
The politics using youth to go and burn places, using youth to go and insult people, using youth to go and pile ballot boxes is not the idea of Cameroon Front. We are going to see the education, knowing your country, knowing the institution of your country, knowing even the political party that you intend to be in. So today we prefer to make a workshop. This workshop, because we think that is a change of mentality.
As the presidential election approaches, political aspirants are re-evaluating their strategies in a bid to secure as many votes as possible. The Front Camerounais has invited Elecam to encourage people to register on electoral rolls and ensure their participation in the upcoming elections.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, let's take you beyond Cameroon now and to the USA, where R&B star R. Kelly has formally been sentenced to 30 years in prison for sexual crimes. The American Federal Justice earlier today rejected his appeal request and confirmed the verdict initially pronounced in June 2022. R. Kelly was found guilty in September 2021 in New York of running a sex trafficking ring that exploited minors for over 3 decades. Authorities described him as a sexual predator who abused his power to exploit young girls and women. And it's on that note that we call it quits for this edition. Thanks for keeping us company all through. The debrief is up next, but then at 1950, Michael Chipke will come back with a full package in the French language. Stay safe and run from trouble on the double.